When you are done discussing issues with students, or when you are finishing up a lecture or being with someone for what you perceive to be the final portion of whatever you're doing, or even the last time, there are two final steps that you want to make sure that you cover. First, you want to confirm whether things were helpful, and second of all, you want to go ahead and keep the door open for future assistance. So, first of all, the easy one is someone says, I have a problem. I'm trying to make something work for me, and it's not working out. As you coach them through the process, and you do the last little piece that they need, when it looks like everything is done, just say, thank you very much for your time today. Was this helpful to you? They'll almost always reply with a yes, because they came in with a problem. They respectfully listened to what it is that, well, we're going to hope anyway, they respectfully listened to what it was that you had to say, and then they chose to make a decision based on what you've requested. And whether their answer was yes or no or maybe, when you say, was this helpful, you will find out for sure whether it was helpful or not. Now, many people will tell you right off the bat, yes, this was helpful. Thank you for taking your time to assist me. But what if someone says, no, this really wasn't what I wanted? That's the kind of information you might be leaving on the table when you just walk away when you think you've done everything that you need to do. So, effectively saying to them, was this helpful? When they respond with a yes, that's a great thing to hear. But when they respond with a no, that opens the avenues for you to say, oh, what were you expecting to get? Or, how could I be more helpful to you? It could be very, very helpful. So, for instance, a student came into my office and they said, I'm having a lot of trouble doing my homework. And what I need is a place to get some help and a place where I can do my work. The answer for me was very easy. You can come to my office. I'll be available at this time during the day, every single week. Well, she said, I was like, don't worry. We also have the Independent Learning Center. The Independent Learning Center is available every day of the week until 8 o'clock at night. She said, well, that's something. At the end, I said, well, was this helpful to you? And she replied, sort of. Oh, why was this only sort of helpful? She said, the reason that it's only sort of helpful is it does tell me where I can go on certain days, and it does tell me where I can go every day up until a certain time at night. But, unfortunately, I don't have a place to stay right now. I can't go home, and so I've been living in my car for 2 days. I don't really have enough gas to keep my engine running for me to do my stuff. I'm really looking for a place that I can stay and do my homework. So I was able to refer them to some of our services that allow students to get that kind of help. However, what I thought was just need a place and a time to do some work and get some extra help, what she really meant was I had some issues. Secondly, go ahead and leave yourself open to getting or giving additional assistance to students. If a student says, I have a problem using Adobe Photoshop, I can't seem to get the mask tool to work the way that I want, you can give them the assistance that they need by showing them how to use the masking tool and showing them how to use the masking tool effectively. However, if what they need is more, that's great. You can help them. But what if they go home and then forget what to do? Or what if they remember what to do, but next week they need more assistance? You may run into a student who is afraid to come and ask you for additional assistance because they have things to do. And they don't want to be seen as a drag upon you and your time. So when you find that you're coming to the end of a conclusion, go ahead and tell a student that if they'd like, they're free to contact you. In many cases, if you're helpful, this lets them know that you can be helpful again. And this can be particularly good for students who are meeting with you in an online capacity. This can be particularly good for students who won't have you next semester, but they like you. They like the way you solve problems. It's a great way for them to move from problem in one class to having you help them with an entirely different class. Still, it's a good way for you to get in touch with someone who needs help unrelated to your classes. So what are some good ways to broach this? First of all, you can send it in the goodbye thank you emails that you send at the end of the semester. It is something you can start at the beginning of the semester. It's something you can include with your remind.com materials. And it's something that you can put together for students who withdraw from your classes. Please don't hesitate to give me a call. Here's my office number. You can email me. Here's my email address. And this is my office. If you want to find out what days and what times I'm on campus, it will change from semester to semester. In a much earlier piece, we discussed how it doesn't matter how good a teacher you are or how much you know about the subject that you're teaching, but that if you didn't have a student to teach to, you would be out of a job and your school would close down. On a similar note, what if you are a faculty member who teaches one class and one class only? Well then, you had better be the go-to for that. That means you need to let people know that they can come to you whenever it is that they would like. On the other hand, you may know many different things, and students may only know you as the illustrator, or they may only know you as the literary argument teacher. But in fact, you know quite a bit about Shakespeare, about composition, about sentence diagramming. There may be all manner of things that you know and enjoy and can bring. But having a good popular opinion of you by the other students in your area is fantastic. Having the ability to have students who pipe up and say, I was really able to get some help from Miss Smith this week. It was really fantastic. I heavily suggest that if you have a problem, you go and see her. She explained everything to me in a way that was very clear and very open. So, again, while on the one hand, it is somewhat part of your job to help people, it is certainly a way for you to become known very well across the job prospects if you can bring all that to bear by having these speakers, these students, speaking for you. People tend to refer people of the same social or economic levels based on what they've come to know and what they've learned and what they've liked. And if they find that you are a great teacher, they will find others like them and suggest to you, oh, I see that you have a hard time with your sketches as well. You've got to take a class with Mr. Dockery. He will require you to do so many sketches, it will become like second nature, and then you'll never have to do it again. Excuse me. So this is a very important thing for them to have in line. It is also that if someone comes from a same business background, I worked in the field as a graphic designer, and now I am a teacher, so I can tell you what it is to do. But if you have come from a field where you are working as a graphic designer and you take one of my courses in web development, you may find that I can explain the situation to you in such a way that it will make complete and utter sense based on what you already know as a business person. So, certain teachers will certainly speak better to others. Michael Shore, one of the gentlemen that works with me, is a retired Air Force IT technician. And he has ways of working with students that allows certain military people to have a much greater rapport and a much greater way of working through his classes. Just like in business, when you ask people for referrals, towards the end of your semester, you will open a door for all of your students to comment on your classes. As you face up towards those days, this could be a good time for you to recap what it is that you've learned. Many times, students towards the end of the time together will find that they've been so focused on the end, they've forgotten the beginning. And so, this one's really going all over the place. And so, as you come to the end of your time in the class, it's very good prior to the faculty review. Well, actually, how about this? When you get to the faculty review, it's a good time for you to just say to your classes, I would appreciate it if you said something nice to me about my teaching style. Now, granted, that's a little bit of brown-nosing requests in there. Instead, you may want to say, just please be completely honest. And chances are very likely that if you have a student who, if they think about their grades and they think about their work, they find a teacher who asks for you to be completely honest must be confident enough in their own abilities to take a couple of knocks if they come across. Now, prior to that, if you want to make sure that everybody is getting the best bang for their buck, or if you want to prompt them to say nice things about your responses, then you may want to tailor your approach. Start off the day with some pleasant remarks. Talk about how much fun everybody's had in here, how excited they've been. Talk about how well everybody did on their last project and how excited you were to see them. Talk about a minor issue that came up and how students overcame it. And people will be put in a good mindset. Then, when you're talking about your reviews, prior to talking about your reviews, review for the students how far they've come in the class. Talk about how in the beginning there were some students who were already leading the way, and then as you progressed through the class, how excited you were that everybody was taking up the burden of the work, and how creative and excellent the solutions that came through were. talk about the breadth and the scope of what you've learned and how you've learned it and what was involved, and use that information to really carry through how much you guys have learned. There are many students who feel, let's say in a web development class, that if they were going to learn HTML, they might, by the end of the class, make a single web page. But if you discuss with them how every week they learned how to connect to remote computers, and every week they were putting work up on the server and their friends and family could find it anytime they want, how by week 3 they were making single page websites, by the halfway point they had to make an entire multi-page website, and then here by the end of the semester they had 2 fully working websites and a WordPress site. Many people will look back and they will say to themselves just how far they've come and how shocked and amazed they are to have achieved that level of success, all in one 12 to 16 week course. It's pretty amazing. So, start with something nice, talk about how far they've come, and then lay down a series of things that you would like them to think about. Number 1, how is the facility? Is it easy to park and get to campus? Because that's a big part of how everything is. How is the classroom? Do you like the bricks? Is there enough light in the room? Are there enough chairs in the room? Talk about the computers for the course. Are the computers strong enough to be able to do what it is that you need to do or that you want to do over the term of a single course? Is the software up to date in the room? How's the book? Is the book good? Does the book let you know? Not too long ago, we talked about how far you've come in this class from the beginning. Did you cover all of the materials that you thought that you would be able to go? And then finally, I'd like you to talk a little bit about me. Am I knowledgeable about the subject that I'm teaching? Could you hear me during the class? Did you feel like if you had a question, I could answer it? Was I available for you outside of class? If you had a question based on the book, was I able to solve your problem for you? And then finally, is there any anecdote about the class, and is there any anecdote that you would like me to know for next time? Something fun or funny that happened in here? Everything that you say in here, I will read. Let them know it won't affect their grade. Or maybe you do let them know it will affect their grade. Who knows? Tell them that you read each and every one and you take them all very seriously. And of course, what you would like, best of all, is to hear the truth about the class. So these are good ways to get referrals. But once you have a student who has completed their materials, a student who likes your class and feels they've come a long way, feels they've learned a lot, even if it was tough, that is a great student because they become a mouthpiece for you to pursue your work. It becomes a great tireless advocate on your side, but also they want to take your classes. You won't have to worry about classes with 4 or 5 people in it. They'll step up and take what's involved. To apply this information today, think about how you are encouraging your students to come back to you if they have issues, or whether you are open and available to them in such a manner that they feel comfortable coming to you in the first place. Think about adding in simple information about feel free to come to me if you have problems, or Was this helpful to you when you are finishing working with someone? And think about how you are currently integrating the course evaluations with your classes.